Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, this man is facing assault charges. Those details this afternoon. And the families of the Uvalde victims are going after two mail carriers for their role in the deadly Robb Elementary School massacre. Plus, jury deliberations are now underway in the felony gun trial against Hunter Biden.
We actually have a few showers rolling around the area. Here's Victoria. Here's the one over Cuero. If you're lucky enough, you may run under it and catch a little cooling trend. We'll be talking about the chances for any additional rain coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
The food bank of the Golden Crescent is getting a massive donation. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Victoria police arrested a 22-year-old man Friday. That's Eric Galeos of Victoria, facing 2 charges, including assault of a family member with a previous conviction. He is in Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $55,000 bond. And Victoria police also arrested a 45-year-old man Monday. That's Armando Servientes of Victoria, facing 3 charges, including assault of a family member with a previous conviction and stalking. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $40,350 bond. Uvalde shooting family survivors are suing UPS and FedEx for shipping the weapon used by the gunman and the Robb Elementary School massacre. The Texas Tribune reports the lawsuit claims the company shipped an enhanced trigger system that allowed the gunman to convert a firearm into a fully automatic or semi-automatic weapon. The gunman used that weapon to murder 19 children and 2 teachers. The families say the shipping companies are responsible for the trauma and distress caused to the survivors of the massacre. And now U.S. attorneys have launched an Operation Texas Kill Switch today. It's an effort to crack down and raise awareness on the manufacture of a switch that can turn any firearm into a machine gun. The machine gun conversion devices, known as MCDs or switches, can be easily made with a 3D printer. One U.S. attorney says that's why authorities are seeing a dramatic increase in the number of switches on the streets. ATF agents seized nearly 1,000 of these switches from 2017 to 2023, with about half of those seized just last year. Under federal law, an MCD by itself is classified as a machine gun.
The materials to make switches are cheap and can be manufactured in a few hours at home or anywhere one can plug in a 3D printer. Installation of a switch into a firearm takes less than 60 seconds.
Diggs says his office is laser focused on prosecution in these cases, and he wants the public to be extra alert. Simply possessing a machine gun conversion switch carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. And now let's take a pause on the news and take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, it is hot out there, but you're telling me to hold on to hope?
Well, there is hope. If you catch the shower, you'll be all of a sudden drenched and maybe a little bit cooler. Here it is. It's just about to get into Victoria County, as you can see right there. Cuero's had rain for about an hour now. It is now rolling down. It's not a huge thunderstorm. It'll be nice if we catch it. There's a couple others down near Ostwell. This activity will be for about 2-3 days, and we'll be talking about that and taking a look at the tropics coming up in just a moment. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Multiple agencies responded to a massive waterline break in North Austin Friday evening. Authorities received a call at around 5:30 p.m. when a contractor hit a 24-inch line, causing gallons of water to spray into the air near an apartment complex located in the front of where the water main break occurred. Crews say the break occurred on a big line that was deep in the ground, which took several hours to control and shut off. That happened around 10 p.m. when the repairs began.
Just that these things happen. We try to avoid them, obviously, as much as possible. They don't happen very often, thank goodness. And we just want to make the repair as quick as possible so that our customers are not inconvenienced for very long.
As of 2:45 p.m. Saturday, the line was repaired and the water was restored. A boil water notice was issued for that affected area. Now, deliberations in Hunter Biden's felony gun trial began this afternoon. Hunter is accused of unlawfully buying a gun in 2018 while allegedly addicted to drugs. Prosecutors and the defense presented their closing arguments just this afternoon.
Jury deliberations now underway in the gun trial against Hunter Biden after both sides got their final chance to address the jury in closing arguments. Right off the bat, prosecutors pointing to the large group of supporters in court for Hunter Biden, including the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, and his sister Ashley, telling jurors you may recognize them, but none of that matters, reminding them that no one is above the law. Hunter Biden faces 3 felony gun charges after prosecutors say he illegally purchased a Colt revolver in October of 2018 while he was allegedly addicted to drugs. Prosecutors arguing the evidence only supports one verdict, saying Hunter knew he was doing drugs and knowingly lied on a federal form, pointing to testimony from Hunter's ex-girlfriend, who said she saw him using drugs just 2 weeks ahead of the gun purchase. Defense attorney Abby Lowell says the prosecution took Hunter Biden's words about being an addict out of context, saying many people refer to themselves as addicts when they aren't using. Lowell also pointing to testimony from the gun seller who testified Hunter Biden did not show any signs of being under the influence. If convicted, Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison, but experts say that's unlikely.
Each one of those felony charges has no mandatory minimum, meaning he could do no jail time based on his record or lack thereof. So while there's a high potential of jail time because of the nature of the charges, I think there's a low potential of jail time because of federal guidelines as well as of his lack of criminal record when it comes to gun possession or fraud.
Hunter Biden did not take the stand in his own defense, but the judge told jurors they must not attach any significance to that decision. Rena Roy, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is getting a big donation of $500,000. The donation is part of a $20 million personal gift from HEB's CEO Charles Butt. The gift is to Feeding Texas Network. Food Bank of the Golden Crescent officials tell us they will get the donation over the next few months and that they are pretty excited and grateful. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent, located at 108 South Lawrence Street, serves an 11-county area. Now, the Victoria ISD is holding its regular monthly meeting tonight. Board members are working to select a superintendent search firm. The meeting is at the administration building, 102 Profit Drive. So here is your Veer poll this afternoon. The question is, what should be the top priority for the new superintendent of Victoria ISD? Improving academic performance, enhancing school safety, increasing teacher salaries, or expanding extracurricular programs? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Starting Tuesday, Mockingbird Lane will be reduced to 1 lane in each direction between John Stockbauer Drive and Loop 463 for 3 days. The street will be resurfaced and all businesses and homes in the construction zone are going to remain accessible. The construction is part of the Mill and Overlay project. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. A member of the Israeli Prime Minister's war cabinet has resigned following the rescue of 4 hostages. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the latest developments in the war in Gaza. Also ahead, FEMA is facing a funding crisis as summer storms approach. We have the cost of 11 storms that hit the U.S. coming up. Opposition leader and war cabinet member Benny Gates has announced his resignation from Netanyahu's emergency government. This comes after the rescue of 4 hostages inside Gaza. Last month, he announced an ultimatum calling on Netanyahu to lay out a clear plan for the war and free all the hostages. The deadline for that came Saturday. Authorities in Gaza say more than 200 Palestinians were killed in Saturday's operation. It's unclear how many civilians or Hamas. Now, meanwhile, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has returned to the Middle East, continued to push for a ceasefire and the hostage release deal. Now, the United Nations Security Council has approved a resolution for a permanent ceasefire and the release in hostages. Now, the proposal put forward by the U.S. calls for a, quote, permanent and end to the hostilities between Israel and Hamas, unquote. It also calls for the return of deceased hostages' remains and the exchange of Palestinian prisoners, as well as a multi-year reconstruction plan for Gaza. The war has went on since October 7th when Hamas attacked Israel, killing about 1,200 people and taking 251 people hostage. Now, the summer storm season is ramping and FEMA is running out of money. The NOAA reported the U.S. was hit with 11 extreme disasters this year. Those costs came up more than $25 billion, meaning FEMA could slip into the red by the end of the summer. One report says the agency could have a shortfall of more than $1.3 billion come August. A FEMA spokesperson says the agency is working with Congress to address this funding issue. They're also taking steps to fund a reserve to set aside for initial response and recovery operations. Moderna says its combination of COVID-19 and flu vaccine showed a positive late-stage trial results. The company says people who received the vaccine, called mRNA-1083, had an improved immune response system compared with those who got a standalone flu and COVID-19 shot. In terms of safety, the combined vaccine was well tolerated. The most common complaints were pain at the injection site, tiredness, muscle pain, and headaches. And now, drinking enough fluids is one of the most important things you can do to prevent heat-related illnesses, but it can be a challenge to get your child to drink enough water.
Much of our body is made up of water. When it's hot outside, we have to refill it, and children can be especially vulnerable to dehydration.
I always get asked how much water should my child have, but dependent on their activity level, their age, it's going to be different.
Signs of dehydration in children include dizziness, drowsiness, dry mouth, sunken eyes, crying with little or no tears, urinating less often, or having fewer wet diapers. To support a child's hydration, take water everywhere you go, says Strong for Life licensed and registered dietitian Catherine Sherry.
Let them pick out their own water bottle. Let them decorate it with stickers so they take ownership of it.
Sherry says to add fruits, veggies, and herbs to the water to make it full of flavor without adding excessive amounts of sugar.
One thing I love to do is when my berries have seen better days in the fridge, I'll mash them up and put them in ice cube trays. And so I'll use that as ice. And as that ice starts to melt, it makes that water more sweet.
Sherry says to avoid sports drinks unless the child is vigorously active in the heat. She says food and water can replenish electrolytes without extra sugar and limit use of juice and other high sugar beverages.
There was a meta-analysis published that juice does contribute towards obesity in children. So when thinking about offering it, we want to keep it minimal.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Unified Command, the group tasked with restoring the Port of Baltimore's Fort McHenry Federal Channel for shipping, provided an update today. Cranes are still pulling debris from the river and placing it on barges to be carried to the shore. Once on land, workers use torches to cut the debris so that they are easier to transport. Once all the wreckage is clear, they plan to sweep the area with electronic equipment to ensure there is no remaining dangers to navigation before the federal channel is fully reopened.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. You might have noticed the atmosphere sort of changed a little bit today. We got these nice little big puffy clouds. In fact, that is a good sign that we're getting showers around the area. This is what I consider to be a little bit more traditional weather. 92 right now. It feels rather warm and muggy, but that's okay. That's because we have enough moisture to pop shower or two. 93 was our high today compared to a 92 average. But how long will the shower chance last? We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. Actually had a few showers around the area. We've got one going just to the north of the city. May be affecting those of you on the way to Cuero. So if you're up along 87, now notice there we have this area of low pressure that kind of knocked down the big dome. Okay, remember the heat dome was going to give us the blazing heat over the weekend? It didn't really quite materialize. It actually dropped south, and you can see how the line is right here. Below this, there's not going to be any rain. Above this, we do get some shower activity up there and a couple of thunderstorms that rolled through deep south Texas overnight. They got some heavy rain in the San Antonio I-37 corridor. This afternoon, more popped up. You can see the activity right about there, just about to get into Victoria. So if you hear rain within the next 10 minutes, you're doing good. You're lucky. We'll get a little bit of cloud cover and some cooling out of that. And then we have a few isolated showers down south of us as well. This is going to be with us for about 2-3 days. Actually, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then on Thursday, it sort of ends as we get closer to the weekend. But it's the only way that, get a brief respite from the incredible heat. We'll be at 94, 95. Our average high this time of year is about 92, but as we get to the weekend, we'll get back up, or we should get into the upper 90s as the atmosphere dries up a little bit. And then we got to watch the Gulf. Yes, I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Here are the forecast highs for tomorrow with the additional chance of, 30% that we may get additional showers. It's about 94, 98 San Antonio, 90 in the Houston area. Of course, it's warm and muggy here, much drier out in western areas. So here's what I'm excited about in the Gulf. Now, what we have here in Central America, this big old yellow area, is called a Central American gyre. And what it does is basically a big boiling cauldron of tropical activity. All we need is for a couple of things to come together to actually pick some of this stuff up and make it into a tropical depression. Okay, I'm not saying that yet, okay, but this moisture and this big blob is going to be drifting north into the Gulf probably by the end of the week, more likely Sunday, Monday. And let's just say the following: whether it forms into something or not doesn't matter. It's going to be a big surge of tropical moisture that rolls up into the Gulf and will produce heavy rains for Florida, all the way to Louisiana, possibly into our area. Let's just say that it's ripe and ready to go. We're going to be watching it very carefully. Of course, the water temperatures are pretty amazing. We're looking 87 in the mid-Gulf, 86 down there, and 85 here. This is, shall we say, August-like temperatures that we're getting in our water this early in June. So for tomorrow, we continue with the partly cloudy, warm, and the humid stuff with a 20-30% chance of an isolated shower, most likely in the inland areas rather than along the immediate coast. But in Frequero, we see it'll be in that 3 or 4 o'clock time period where they pop up with the afternoon heat. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Otherwise, yes, it's hot and it's steamy, and our best chance will be tomorrow and Wednesday, then decreasing on Thursday. And as we get into next weekend, just plain old sunny, hot, and dry. We will certainly be watching everything for you right here. And that's our 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody that we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. We'll toss it back to Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, 2 massive tech companies are providing free cybersecurity services to protect rural hospitals. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 69 points, the S&P 500 up 14 points, and the Nasdaq up 59 points. Oil up $2.21, closing at $77.74 per barrel. Microsoft and Google will offer free or discounted cybersecurity services to area hospitals across the U.S. to protect them against cyber attacks. Microsoft will provide free security updates for those eligible hospitals and security assessments and training for hospital staff, while Google will offer free cybersecurity advice. Last year, the government says the number of ransomware attacks against the U.S. healthcare sector increased by 128% compared to the year prior. Now, Apple is taking a splash into the world of artificial intelligence. At a conference today, the company announced plans to partner with ChatGPT maker OpenAI. Apple revealed its first batch of AI tools for its mobile operating system powered by what it calls Apple Intelligence. This aims to make Siri smarter by turning the feature into an AI chat robot for iPhone. Apple CEO says the goal is to personalize AI tools for Apple users while prioritizing privacy. Now, some Texas cities gave aid to help fight poverty, and now critics are pushing back, saying they are not a good use of taxpayer dollars. You can read this Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, Buc-ee's is keeping the record for the largest store in the state of Texas. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
This week, Supreme Court decision watch. From Donald Trump's immunity to abortion to guns and other major cases. What's at stake? More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
The world's largest Buc-ee's opened its doors in Luling today. The convenience store has 120 gas pumps, but it's the massive 75,000 square foot size that clinched the record. That mark previously belonged to a Buc-ee's in a city in Tennessee, which clocked in at 74,000 square feet. Florida has plans to open a store next year that would be 80,000 square feet. But Buc-ee's recently clarified the store will actually be the same size as the location in Tennessee.
Beaver and Buc-ee's are now icons across the United States. They spread Texas hospitality, great barbecue, and beaver nuggets wherever they go.
And with that, the chain is set on keeping its home state of Texas the site of its largest store for the near future. And of course, everything's bigger and better here in Texas.
And I happen to have been there this morning.
You were in Luling in that one?
And I wish they would considering put bathrooms on either end, because going from one side to the other side is like a football field.
You're getting a workout at that Lulu location.
You do. Are y'all going to put a train through here? Because that would be real helpful, you know. I mean.
But you know what also feels like a workout? Just stepping outside in this heat.
Yeah,
I'm dripping in sweat.
A little heat and a lot of humidity, but the showers that are rolling around are the only kind of thing that might give us a little drenching or a little cooling. So I'm encouraging y'all to get out there and get wet. Otherwise, we have that chance for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And then by Thursday, it all sort of dries up as we head into another hot trend. Again, as I mentioned, if you didn't catch my drift is the following. There's stuff brewing in the Caribbean. We're going to have to watch it within the next 7 days to see if it evolves into anything. But the bottom line is that there's much more tropical moisture rolling up into the United States, whether it forms or not. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you'll keep an eye out for it?
You bet.
All righty. Thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.